Let's start it off with the pre-patch, which will be dropping pretty damn soon. 23rd/24th, a week later, Radiant Echoes begins. That is the big event thing. The other thing we've learned about the big event is that the spawns for the first fortnight, 90 minutes. For the third week, 60 minutes. And for the final week, 30 minutes. Now, that's the spawning of the event, but the zones themselves are always going to be populated with mobs. So, if you missed the Gulp Frog farm, this really is not the same at all. But, it's something you could grind. Anyway, terms of things. So, what is there to cover? Well, basically, this is when the game actually switches over to The War Within. It just doesn't have any of The War Within's content. So, as of that time, we'll be playing patch 11.00. You will have your new talent changes, warbands, your warband bank. If you go to Gadget Zan, there'll be a quest where you can get a toy that lets you access the warband bank mobile, which is going to be really useful. So that's essentially what's going on. All the system changes are going to be there. So if you've been excited about, say, the transmog stuff, where you can just learn anything on any character, basically, you'll be able to just start doing that. So I've got to imagine a lot of people will be doing Antorus runs. I wonder how the Scythe drops.
What do you mean?
The Scythe personal loot from Arcus.
That's a good question.
Because if you go there...
That's a very good question.
Yeah, if you go there on, like, a priest, would it drop for you?
I assume not. I assume that's spec-based personal loot.
I wonder what happens with legendaries, because I have, in my Hunter's Bank, a Warglaive of Azzinoth. Like, the actual one. Wait, hang on, I completely forgot. You can just unlock that transmog by going to flippin' Black Temple during time walking, if you're a DH.
Sure can.
Anyway, who knows, maybe that'll be something to do. Now, there is another little thing here, which is Visions of Azeroth, the pre-patch questline. I do assume that this is just going to be like a little bit of an intro to the event. But
no,
they could surprise us kind of a little more.
No. Oh, I've just accidentally moved that. Whoops. No, that is... you may notice the camera's not switching to me anymore, so I was trying to hold off on picking up the conversation because our settings just broke again. I'm getting very upset with this. But it's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
So what I was going to say, and now that
our gnome's in the computer box.
Yes, so what I was going to say was that the Visions of Azeroth questing is just a little lead-in. Unless they've added more to it in beta, it was the thing that was in the first build. They had the lead into it in our quest log.
I think accidentally.
Yeah, it's just a little bit where you see, you may have seen, I'm not going to say anything, you may have seen our Magni thumbnail, because Magni's obviously a character in this expansion. The reason for him to be the beginning of his arc, let's say, or rather the beginning of the end of his arc, because obviously he's had a lot of arcs so far character-wise. We actually we'll see him do a thing, and it's actually where we first learned about what Locust Walker said in Darkheart, because it's reiterated by a character. But it's a very short thing. It just establishes that everyone's been chilling in Dalaran, waiting for
happy in Dalaran.
Yeah, waiting for something to happen, whatever that something may be.
We actually scheduled a video, the full, the history, the story of Dalaran, and I think we're gonna release that video like maybe the 22nd, 23rd,
just before early access.
Yeah. I don't really know why we decided to make a video about Dalaran, but we sort of want to anyway.
Yeah, I really wish. This is a bit off topic, but I do genuinely wish we had like the foresight as a community and Blizzard were the same to not tell us anything about Dalaran. That would have been really, really nice.
Yeah, you see, they tried to get that as a marketing beat. Now, they said that because of the way things are in the expansion, they couldn't. They sort of had to, because beta was happening, and people were going to log in. I guess I do wonder, would it be more effort to change the text to garble it? Or to do a little bit of jiggery pokery.
Nah, mostly because they would have had in terms of how much Dalaran is referenced in the actual expansion, they would need to basically rewrite half of the expansion, dialogue and stuff, because every other second there's full side quest zones. There's we're going to talk about Dalaran for a bit here. There's full side quests on that all over the place. So That's something they couldn't do if they wanted it testable, which is unfortunate. It's the problem of like testing your story. Obviously, people are going to find what you're doing, even if
I mean, it's interesting. I have no idea what we're talking about with Dalaran, but certainly I'll be sure to watch our video when it comes out so that I care about Dalaran properly before the expansion starts.
replace Dalaran with Stoneheart in the quest text. Honestly,
Perfect.
if you didn't have how do I put this? If you didn't have the kind of right, okay, it would make no sense, but you technically could, because if you like name and model replaced all the NPCs with a script, and then were able to revert that for
It's
the
basically
actual release calendar.
arachnophobia mode, but for plot spoilers.
Yeah, that would actually be yeah. If not for the fact that'll be an insane amount of work, I would almost like support that. Quest should have no text on beta besides objectives. How would people report typos in? Blizzard, you should get a subscription to Grammarly. Or, just any spell checker, please. Please, for the love of God.
VS Code as
Just anything.
that.
Just
yeah.
anything, like. But yeah, and we still do have typos all over the place. Like, it was a major character, and I was really worried because it was getting down to the wire before voices were added. When I heard the voice say the word red, I was like, oh my God, thank fuck. Because there was a character in Ashgahed that in all of their dialogue said Harbinger, not Harbinger. And I was just like, please
Harbinger.
catch this. Please catch this, because I do not want this character to say Harbinger. I'm like, no, you got it wrong. But it was obviously fine. So, yeah, obviously all that stuff needs to be fine, because otherwise we'll be getting our patch in a week full of not fine things.
Yes. A thing on the class side of things.
Yes.
And design changes. The season is 2 weeks after the expansion launches, so they do have until the 10th of September.
There's an infographic somewhere.
I think, yeah. So that they do have a little bit. I have to imagine we'll be doing a lot of season 1 work during the first 2 weeks of the expansion. Especially because that's also going to see lots of people go through 4 of the dungeons that are going to be in the season, so they'll get a bunch of extra testing there. So anyway, that's basically what's going on. I don't really think there's that much else to say in pre-patch. We have 2 videos. One is on what's coming in the pre-patch. The other one is what's going and ways you can prepare. So that's going to be there. And it may seem a bit redundant, but we have decided we're going to go into the day 1 guide sphere. But I'm trying to be very particular with it by basically saying it's day 1 of a new patch on an MMO. Sometimes a lot of people are confused. They don't really know what's changed or where the things are. So that video exists not to say if you don't play the pre-patch perfectly on day 1, you'll literally die. It's just, helpful pointers so that
I think that's
know what's up.
I was independently come up with kind of the same idea where I was thinking like there's a lot of stuff that is completely. It's not going to be anyone's focus realistically for like how as an example, where do you find the catalyst? Where do you find the black market auctions? Where do you find all the weird stuff?
Or even what are warbands? Hey, Matt, how do I add a character to my warband? How do I add a character to my other warband? What is a warband?
Warband is a very fancy way of saying account bound everything.
yeah.
Which will raise a lot of confusion because even like I even see people on beta talking about like asking questions, but like how do I add more than 4 characters to my warband? Or like, oh, I totally understand why you'd make that assumption.
Yeah. Like
that's completely
but
fair.
Understanding how it works technically with like merging achievements and reputations, that would be completely insane.
Oh, of course, yeah, definitely.
But when you're purely in customer mode and you're not thinking about, I suppose the thing is, we're both quite familiar with like code things, databases and shit. So if that's not the default thing, you're going to see warbands. You're going to see, oh, what's this little box with my dudes? Clearly that looks like a warband. Yeah, it's like it's hard whenever you're immersed in something so much that, you take things for granted. Other people don't know those things. I actually think it's one of the largest problems with MMOs.
Oh, it is. MMO, like, system design being kind of designed an awful lot around, I think the, how do I put this? The incumbent player.
Yeah.
And the really, 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 like, super zoned in player happens an awful lot.
Well, it's I mean, for the final shape. I've been looking at all of these, player-friendly changes for a happier Destiny, and I'm just sort of sitting there thinking, yeah, prismatic, nice. The fuck's going on here?
Yeah,
It's great for them.
You only need treble the global Thorbs to spin your Wazit, like, and you're like,
Exactly, yeah.
you're like, damn, I thought I was going to need quintuple. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So I don't know. Maybe at some point we'll do a video that's like actually aimed at people who don't know anything about WoW. That would probably help, because I'm sure people, they look at a streamer playing Mythic Plus, they maybe see it's a competitive thing, maybe they don't like Valorant, they don't like shooters, so the idea of that's really appealing to them. Then they go to World of Warcraft and like, what is this? What's this? Where's the thing I saw the streamer do?
Games need to include changes and change lists within the game. Several games do this. Don't make me follow an external link or something. That's interesting, because I'm in sort of two minds about this. Because I guess I'll say with FF14, with Dawntrail, I looked into my job changes, and I looked into nothing else. I was going in as blind as I possibly could outside of I watched the trailer when it released, and then I forgot everything else. And I was like, okay, well, I'll go in, and then every time something's like vaguely new or interesting, I'm like, oh, what's that? If I'm like, I need to know where the thing is, I don't look it up. I'll just be like, I'll hop into Discord or like ping someone in my FC, be like, where's the thing? And I'm just like, am I using them? And their knowledge, yes. But it's also way better than me like having to go near anything like that. But at the same time, anything that's like below the surface or hidden is kind of awkward. It's really very awkward. Whenever you're trying to play something you don't have access to this information for, you're like, oh yeah, what's different? I don't know. And I think you happen to this an awful lot in WoW specifically. I find people will notice it this time. I think there are certain classes, and I see people ask about classes in like the design and stuff like. But going into, I was about to say Dawn. I was like Dragonflight. Couldn't the Dragonflight? No, I did that. Going into Dawntrail. No, that's a different game. Going into the War Within in the pre-patch, you're going to find some people will log in and be like, oh, my class has completely changed. Oh, this is really cool. What's interesting? Oh, fantastic, all this new stuff. And then you're going to people who log in and be like, where's my... Has anything changed? I don't know what's going on. Demon Hunters, Rogues. You'll just be like, what? Where's my changes?
Well...
where's my changes?
Do they still use Feint?
No,
they don't use Feint offensively.
No, they haven't used Feint for unseen
Your
blade
planned changes have been unchanged. Congratulations.
Yeah.
So there you go. Rogues, hashtag no changes. A big win for the community.
Yeah, except for losing.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, God. I'll talk about this later on.
Something we weren't going to properly dive into, but they've changed the guild UI on Classic Era, and some people are very, 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 very angry.
Rightly so. No, I get it. Button bloat and system complainers are to blame for some specs not really evolving. To be fair, button bloat's a pretty major problem with most of these specs. And
you know what? Whenever
they
they removed readiness from My Hunter and patch 5.3, that's when I knew World of Warcraft was dead forever. There we go. That's my piece done.
Yeah, funny. I don't have any specific moment I can think of and go, this ruined my game forever. I can't think of anything like that.
Yeah,
oddly enough, mostly and I mean like, not even. Maybe I've just been lucky with my class choices, but it's never been like, oh, my class has been turned off. I like move away naturally sometimes.
In playing a Hunter for the longest time, you just log in after a new expansion, like, oh, what have I done this time? If you're not aware, readiness was one that it was actually. They considered it APM and button bloat during Mists of Pandaria. So it would refresh the cooldown of all of your other cooldowns. So you would basically do your opener, then you'd hit readiness, then you'd do your opener again. Which was
cold
fun.
Snap on crack. Very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. So anyway, that's in the pre-patches. We have other news stories to talk about. There is the infographic that drops.
Which I think
there's
we'll
not
throw on screen.
There's not really anything particularly new there. We'll point out skywriting from level 10.
Yeah.
From level 10, so that might be useful when you're leveling up.
I mean, that's kind of the funny thing. I think we get used to it whenever we play on beta and alpha for too long. Actually logging into the real video game and being able to hop on your other mounts to skyride is going to be a big moment for people. It really is. Like, me being able to go, I don't have to sit on a fucking dragon anymore. Or my druid, I'm like, I can just travel for him. Fantastic.
It also incentivized things like, I farmed a bunch for Ashes of Alar back like ages ago. Might try doing that again because now I can use it with the cool flying system. So all those things that I think are good foundational changes, and in a multiplicative way, where you change the system and now you've incentivized or opened up a whole bunch more gameplay.